Recall that in part 1, I initially put together ingredients that were equal in volume for every component of 2 different types of flour from the Poaceae or the grass family, and that was corn and wheat. I allowed the breads to sit and I showed you guys what that looked like, right, as a relative comparison to gluten content. Now after baking them, you can see that a little bit of expansion occurred, but you'll notice some pretty notable differences between the bread on the left or the corn and that on the right in wheat flour. And again, this indicates really the biochemistry of bread making at its finest, because this really allows us to visualize the differences between the two based on that protein called gluten, which again, as we said earlier, really forces those CO2 bubbles to expand and stick in there rather than escape outward. And if you look closely at corn, because corn lacks gluten, you can see here that there wasn't a very, very obvious change in the size of the loaf of bread. Moreover, we wouldn't expect that because those of us that eat cornbread know that we oftentimes add wheat flour to make the bread rise a bit. So these are some notable differences between the two. Now, a real good science experiment, I'd make several loaves and do these measurements to get a lot of data so that we could run proper stats on this. But just as a quick bird's eye view, again, this is a nice comparison that, again, gives us information on the relative gluten content of these two. Part 3 will be coming up as per the data collected on 2 different parameters that indicate gluten content.